It's driving me insane. Silence rattles in my brain.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Rose. Thank you so much for taking the time to click that thumbnail. I wanted to hop on here and just do a brief video about my road to recovery. Addict in recovery. I come from a family of addiction, and I promised my viewers that once I hit 1K, I would sit down and do this type of a video and just kind of open up and share about my life a little bit more behind the makeup. And also, make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. I have a little special something that I'd like to share with you guys, just my way of saying thank you to getting me to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to hear my struggles and my road to recovery and how I got to be where I am now, then just make sure to keep on watching. But before we get into the video, make sure you guys subscribe. I put out content weekly, so you don't want to miss out on all the fun. Also, make sure to check the down bar for all my other links to all my other social media platforms. Without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop on into the video. I don't really know how to start this type of a video. I am mainly a beauty channel, so to open up about who I am behind the makeup is rather difficult. I didn't come from an easy life by any means. I had to work hard and fight hard for everything that I have today. It hasn't been an easy road, but it's also been very rewarding at the same time. So I won't get into any exact details or get into too long of a story of my back history. I just simply wanted to sit down and share my experience and what it was like, what happened, and what it is like now with my recovery. I am an addict in recovery. I have a little over 2 years of sobriety, but I've been in recovery for 6 years. Back in 2015 is when I made the decision to turn my life around and seek help, and I went to one of the best rehab treatment centers here in Northeast Ohio. It was the place that basically saved my life. Granted, I did have a relapse and I slipped and I stumbled along the way, but I am here to see another day and to tell my story and to let you guys know that if you feel alone in your addiction, that you are not alone. There are other people out there who are struggling, and this is just basically documenting my story and my struggle and how I got to where I am today. I don't know why I'm so nervous to share this, but it's just not an easy subject to talk about. But I know as a result, it is so very important to raise awareness around addiction and to break the stigma that surrounds addiction. People who suffer from addiction, it isn't a choice. Yes, you make the choice to pick up that drug or to pick up. But soon, certain people's genetics in their mind, it starts to basically take over and it becomes a spiritual malady to where the choice goes out the door and it becomes part of a survival mode for us, compared to drinking water or eating food to survive. And addiction is a genetic. You can be born into addiction, such as myself. I was born into addiction. I come from a family of addicts and alcoholics. My mother and my father were both addicts. My mother was both an addict and an alcoholic. I have 2 older brothers, and I am the youngest and the only girl. Even when I was young, I always strived to be better and to want better for myself. Because my parents were into their addiction very heavily, we didn't grow up with means. And if it wasn't for my grandmother stepping in to basically take care of us and to make sure we had clothes for school and food in our fridge, I don't know if we would have made it. I used to hold resentments against my father for a very long time, but I realized it wasn't his fault that he was sick. I always excelled academically in school. I graduated high school out of the top 10 out of my class. I was the 7th out of 242 seniors, which is one of the reasons why 7 is my lucky number. I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am 38 years old. I just had a birthday on April Fool's Day. And I am a makeup artist and a makeup enthusiast and a makeup lover. Always have been. For as far back as I can remember, I remember reaching for and playing with my mom's makeup when I was a little girl, or doing my makeup with her doing her makeup with me. That was one of of our bonding experiences that I can remember when I was young. I just used to look forward to going to school. School was my escape from my home life because my home life wasn't the greatest. My parents were always using, or we weren't ever really allowed in the house as children. It was very sad. They wanted us to always be outside or to pay to stay at other people's houses so that they could use, basically. But they didn't know no better. They were sick, and I can't hold that against them. When I was 15 years old, I lost my mother from an accidental overdose. I basically found her, and I didn't realize she had even passed. I just remember the night of that I kind of came home from a friend's house since we were always never really allowed in the house, and I just kind of stared at her for a little bit, and she looked cold and just looked different. But at 15 years old, I didn't know no different to realize or to think that she had passed away even. So I went upstairs, I went to bed. I'll never forget it. It was my last 4 days of school, my freshman year, and I had finals and my exams and stuff to do the next couple of days before graduating. I got woken up by my aunt and a police officer who were very startled and, asked if I was okay. And yes, I told them I was okay. I had to go to school that day, and I looked out the window and I seen, a couple ambulances, a police car, and friends of mine standing outside saying, "Call me," and I didn't understand what was going on. And then I even seen them bring her out, which at the time she was covered up completely, so I didn't really know it was my mother exactly, but I seen them bringing somebody out, and it still didn't register. We drove over to my grandmother's house, and my dad was in the front seat, and I'll never forget it. He was just bawling. He was hysterical. It just didn't sink into me. It's almost like I didn't want to believe it. And then when we got to my grandmother's house, that is when my dad pulled me outside and let me know that my mother had passed away. And that was where the beginning of my addiction started. From 15 on is when my addiction started. And sadly, the person who I looked up to and admired the most was the worst enabler for me, who was my own father. We went home that night and he threw me my first handful of pills, and I don't know what they were, but I do know that we really enjoyed ourselves. We stayed up all night cleaning and just spending time together, mourning the loss of my mother and his wife. But that is where my addiction started, and it was my own father who enabled that and started that road to addiction for me. I did manage to, again, graduate high school. I graduated with honors, and I went right into college, but at that point, I was already drinking, smoking pot, popping pills. I was smoking crack. I was doing pretty much everything except for heroin. Sadly, I didn't make it through college. I ended up dropping out a year and a half in. I got into an abusive relationship. That's when I had my first miscarriage from the abuse and the physical abuse of this person, of an ex-boyfriend of mine, putting his hands on me, causing me to lose the baby. I was 19 years old. I was very young. My addiction progressively got worse throughout my 20s. Addiction is a progressive illness, so it gradually got worse. I started doing pretty much everything that you can think of, everything that you can put your hands on. I had started dabbling in. It wasn't until I was 25 years old for the first time that I ever tried the heroin. It was the worst decision that my dad could have ever done. It was my father who was the first person that ever gave it to me, but it is such a powerful, super addictive drug. So as soon as he had given it to me, I was almost instantly addicted to it. I loved it so much, and I couldn't leave it alone. I could not put it down. My brothers were already using it at this point, and my father was using it at this point. So it was only a matter of time before I was going to fall a victim and fall into the trap as well, since that was really the only lifestyle that I had known up until that point. This is not easy to talk about, and part of me used to feel ashamed and embarrassed of my story and my past for the longest time, but I realized that there's nothing to be ashamed of and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It is part of me, and it is what has made me the person that I am today. Fast forward a couple months in, and I'm using heroin steadily. I am snorting it at this point. It did not go to the needle at this point yet. My father was diagnosed with liver cancer, which was due to his drug use and his addiction with needles. They gave him 2 months to live, and he basically lived 45 days, and he had passed away as well. And I'll never forget, he was in hospice, and I was just holding his hand, and I had forgiven him for all of the things that he had done, There was a point where he put his hands on me and it got pretty bad. I had to kind of pretty much lose all respect for him and distance myself from him for a very long time. When I found out he was dying, I forgave him for everything, because you can't live with resentment. You can't live with that against somebody who is no longer here. It's torture to yourself and it is not healthy for yourself. So I forgave him. And then after losing my father is when my addiction really took off. My brother then introduced me to the needle and I started injecting it, and it was all downhill from there. I felt very alone. I felt scared. I didn't know who to turn to. I had lost both of my parents already and I was only 25 years old. I was stuck with this addiction and this monkey on my back. I was doing things that no woman should ever do to have the means to make the money to buy the heroin. I had lost all dignity and all self-respect and all self-love for myself. And all I cared about was just getting the next fix. In the midst of my addiction, I managed to meet who is now my late husband, an amazing man who was my first husband. He has since passed away himself. He was somebody that I leaned on. He was somebody that helped me through a very dark place and a very dark time in my life. Sadly, he ended up using the heroin with me, and then he got addicted to it. So then there was two of us with two habits to try to fend for, but he loved me nonetheless, and he accepted me for who I was. He never judged me. We got married very fast. We got married after only 45 days of knowing each other, but we were married for 5 years up until 2015. I had ended up getting into some serious trouble as a result of my drug use. Consequences come. You can't expect to live that kind of a lifestyle without consequences. I look at them as eye-opening experiences and a light shining down in an attempt for people to possibly reach out and get help for themselves. So I don't look at consequences and the consequences that had happened to me as bad experiences. I look at those as God reaching out to help me. So I did end up doing some time in prison. I have a prison number. I am a multiple convicted felon, all related to my drug use. I had gotten out and I went right back to the same thing because my husband at the time was already using, and I went right back to it, and I ended up getting in trouble again, and I was on felony probation, and I caught 2 more felony charges. And I knew I needed to do something to help myself, because if I didn't, I was gonna die. If I didn't do something to help myself, I wasn't going to make it very much longer. And I was tired of living that way. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired and waking up sick and constantly needing that drug to just make me feel normal at this point. So I did the best thing that I think I've ever done and made the best decision that I've ever made in my entire life, and that was to go and seek out treatment. It's the first time and the only time I've ever went to treatment, and I was admitted to residential treatment in one of the best treatment centers in Northeast Ohio. I will not, for the sake of anonymity, mention the place that I went to, but it was the best treatment center anybody could ever go to. It was the beginning of the life I now live today, and it saved my life. But it just goes to show you that even in treatment, I was still very sick, and I had a lot of personal healing and inventory to do on myself, and a lot of fixing to do on the inside. From living a whole lifestyle of addiction and abuse, I had a lot of repairing to do on the inside. I had a lot of work to do on myself. If you hear a lawnmower outside, I do apologize. The neighbor is mowing the grass, and there isn't much I can do about it. I'm right by the window. In 2015, it was the beginning of the life that I now live today. My first 5 days in treatment, I had lost my husband to an overdose. I wanted to leave the treatment center. I was on my way out the door, leaving the treatment center. And this is what I like to call divine intervention. My husband today happened to also be at this same treatment center. He had a little more time over his head. He ended up coming from prison himself. He did 2 years, and then the judge placed him at this treatment center to basically finish out his time. So even though he was incarcerated, he still had 2 years clean before even coming to the treatment center. I had lost my first husband. He passed my first 5 days in. I look at it as, again, divine intervention, because if I wasn't where I was in that treatment center when I was there was undeniably, undoubtedly, I would have also passed and died with my husband, because we used together at the same time, and it was 100% fentanyl, what he had, and it killed him instantly. So there was a reason why I was where I was supposed to be at that exact time. It was very hard. It was very devastating on me. I lost basically the only person I had left up until this point. I was on my way leaving the treatment center because I didn't want to be there. And my husband today crossed my path in the rain and basically had begged me to stay. We were both crying. It was very emotional. It was very hard. I didn't want to stay, but I stayed. All I needed was that one person who believed in me, one mustard seed of hope. That's all I needed. And I took that and I ran with it. So I ended up staying at the treatment center, and I successfully completed the program. I don't know how I completed it because I got into a lot of trouble in there, but I successfully completed it. And then me and my husband today, who was also happened to be my husband who passed away's best friend. That's why he crossed my path in the rain and begged me to stay at the treatment center, because he knew if I left that I was not going to make it. I was going to die. So he did everything in his power to protect me and to make sure that I successfully completed the program, because he knew that my husband would want that too. My husband who passed away was so very proud. He was so happy for me and the fact that I had made it. And I got there. I ended up completing the program. I got out, and my husband today, his name is Robert, he got us a place. We didn't jump into a relationship. It was just a safe and sober environment for me to come home to and to leave the treatment center to. We eventually got together because we are now married, but we didn't rush into that relationship. He just wanted to make sure I was okay. He just wanted to make sure I was happy and sober, the most important thing. And then when I got out, I ended up getting a job back at the treatment center that saved my life. It was one of the best jobs I ever had. And I ended up working there and helping other people to achieve and maintain sobriety as well. But it just goes to show you that even after you get clean, life happens, and it is all about living life on life's terms. I lost my job at the treatment center, and then 2 weeks later, I ended up losing my brother. I lost my brother. He had ended up having open heart surgery as a result of his drug use. And losing my brother was, out of all the losses that I've endured, was the most devastating loss that I've had to go through. Losing a sibling is the hardest loss. I've lost my parents to addiction, I've lost my husband to addiction, and then I lost my brother to addiction. And I have one brother left who is still sadly homeless and out there on the streets in his addiction. I learned by losing my brother Derek that I can only do so much to help them, that they have to want the help. I can't make myself sick worrying if my brother that I still have today, on if he's ever going to get help or not. It's not healthy for me. It's not healthy and good for my sobriety. And as a result of losing my brother Derek, who losing your best friend from birth really took me to my knees. It was the most devastating loss. And as a result of losing my job at the treatment center, and then 2 weeks later, I lost my brother, and I had to do the service all by myself while in between jobs. I didn't have a job. So as a result, I had a relapse. I had a brief relapse. It just goes to show you that whenever you think that you have it and you have this addiction under control, you are on dangerous grounds. You will never have it under control. You can maintain it every day, but never will you ever be in control and have it under control. Prior to losing my brother in 2018, I lost him on August 14th of 2018, but on June 16th of 2018, it was the best day of my life. I was able to marry my husband today, Robert, who basically saved my life. Yeah, I had some slips and falls and I stumbled along the way, but I still got to have a white wedding and an official traditional wedding. Me and my first husband just went to the courthouse on St. Patrick's Day, drinking whiskey. It wasn't nothing like a real wedding, so I got to celebrate and have the most happiest day of my entire life happen for the person that basically saved my life, the person that believed in me, and the person that loves me, and the person that basically accepts me for who I am today. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that man, and I just am so grateful to have him. So fast forward a couple of months, I lost my brother and I had relapsed. As an addict, secrets keep us sick, and I didn't know how to come clean. I was scared to tell anybody about my relapse, so I just kind of kept going for a couple of months. Thankfully, I didn't go back to intravenous use, and I ended up just snorting it for a while, but I had still unlocked that addiction on the inside, and as a result, I was dependent on it again, and I was working, and I didn't know how to take time off to withdraw off of the heroin because I knew I would lose my job. I didn't have PTO or vacation time to take to be able to detox at home for 2 weeks. I made probably one of the other better decisions that I've ever made in my life, and I made the decision to get on a medication that is called Suboxone, which is an opiate blocker, and it also has naloxone in it, and it helps to take care of any types of cravings or triggers, and you don't think about the opiates, and it has been a game changer for me. And I know that there is such a huge stigma around Suboxone as well, and we need to break that stigma on if you're taking Suboxone that you're not really clean, and that is not the case, and that is not true at all. I used to be one of those people who thought the same thing, and God works in mysterious ways and has a way of really switching people's aspects and thinking in life, because I used to once think that, and now here I am humbled as a result of having to take the medication to help save my life. And I am clean. I'm not out there on the streets chasing a drug that would potentially kill me. I have a good life. I have a home. I have a wonderful husband who loves me. I have a great job. I have a career on Instagram and YouTube. I am sober in the every bit of the means. So the stigma that surrounds this medication, Suboxone, it breaks my heart, because if it wasn't for this medication, I don't know if I would be here. I've slipped, I've struggled, I've stumbled, I've fell, I've had some hardships, I've lost my entire family. It's hard, it hurts every single day, mourning the loss of my family. But all I can do is carry on and live and keep their legacy alive and just continue to do the next right thing. Me and my husband are both examples of it is never too late to change. We are both convicted felons. We've done time in prison. And he now has what will be coming up on 8 years clean, 100% zero abstinence. He hasn't needed any medication or anything. And I know there's going to come a point where I need to taper down and come off of the Suboxone. But right now, at this point in my life, I'm just not there yet. And I think I'm going to probably do eventually another video on Suboxone and on the ways that it has helped me in my recovery. So yes, shortly after getting on this medication is then where I decided to really kind of dive into the social media realm. Never did I think I would get to where I am today, and I am still a very small channel and a very small platform over on Instagram. And I just kind of started it as a hobby because I started to fall back in love with makeup again. I went to a professional makeup academy in my 20s and I never did anything with it because I was just too deep into my addiction. I just fell in love and I rediscovered my passion for makeup, and I just started posting on Instagram and taking photos, and then I discovered the Project Pan community and I fell in love with that, and I still really enjoy to do project panning. And then that's where I came up with the idea deal to start a YouTube channel. I thought about it and thought about it years ago and just never thought that I could do it, or that you needed to do something crazy to really be seen over here, because YouTube is such a saturated community. But I finally pulled the trigger and just went for it. And I started and I filmed my first video in September of 2019. I had not a clue what I was doing. I didn't even know how to edit. I basically just sat down, I turned on my phone because I used my phone at first, and I just started talking about makeup with you guys. And then slowly but surely, you guys liked the videos and you guys started subscribing, and more of you started subscribing. And then I started to share my Project Pan journey and different projects with you guys, and you guys really seem to enjoy those too. And the same thing with Instagram. I'm almost to 12,000 followers over there, and I've had some amazing opportunities come my way, things that I am so grateful for that I just never in a million years thought would happen to somebody like me. Somebody who couldn't even look at herself in the mirror, somebody who didn't have no love for her, self-love or respect or anything or regard for anyone or anything. And now I can happily say that I love myself and I love each and every one of you so very much. So if you are thinking about starting a channel of your own, I am proof that anybody can do it. All you have to do is press record and just start. You have to start somewhere. And I'm not ashamed of my story. It is what's made me the person I am today. And today I am happy, I am healthy, and I have influence. Like, I actually have influence, and I have people that look up to me, and I have thousands and thousands of supporters both over here and on my Instagram. And you guys are what drive me to continue to do this and go forward with this journey each and every day. Never did I think I would get monetized over here on YouTube. So since I've gotten monetized, you guys, I don't even have the words to express my gratitude on how thankful that I am. I started a declutter and I did my eyeshadow palette declutter, and we still have the rest of my makeup to go through, and we will get there. It's gonna take a while. It's a process. I have a lot of makeup I've acquired since being clean. I just kind of started diving into makeup and buying makeup because I am an addict at heart. I'm always going to be excessive to one extent or another, whether it's buying drugs or alcohol or buying makeup or working excessively. I would rather it be makeup than something that was going to kill me. I just never thought that I was good enough or that I would ever be good enough. And you guys remind me every single day that I am worth it and that I am good enough. And I just cannot thank you guys enough. There has been many times where I wanted to just give up on my channel because I do have a job and I do work full time. I have a very good job. But as a result of having to work full time, I work 4 10-hour days and I have 3 days off. So as a result of having to work 10-hour days, it really takes a lot of my time and attention away from being able to produce content regularly over here. So I'm only able to really get one video up a week. You guys don't seem to mind, and it just blows my mind on how much support you guys show me, and it just wants to drive me to continue to do better and to be better and to give back and to help any way that I can. Since I am an addict in recovery, it is all about giving back. Like, I have to constantly give back and help others in order to keep it. So that is why I like to do giveaways over on my Instagram, and I've done giveaways over here. And speaking of giveaways, I just wanted to kind of do a small little giveaway right now and show my token of appreciation for getting me to 1,000 subscribers and getting monetized. I never thought that I would ever make it and get monetized over here. It was something I kind of came to terms with in my mind and just thought, okay, well, you know, it's not going to happen for me, but I'm still going to continue and film videos because I really enjoy to do it. I love to produce content and make videos and just potentially inspire people. So the fact that we are here and we made it and we got monetized blows my mind. And it's all thanks to each and every one of you, every subscriber that I have, every new subscriber that I've gained. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel and for sticking around and for watching my videos and for giving them videos a thumbs up. Speaking of thumbs up, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up as well. It really helps me and it lets me know what kind of content that you guys like and that you guys want. So I'm sorry, I know it was a long video, but I just wanted to share a little bit about my back history on how I got here and why I started this journey with YouTube and Instagram and how we made it. But nonetheless, we made it. We still have a very long way to go, but I just wanted to share and let you guys know how much you mean to me and how grateful I am for each and every one of you. As a small token of my appreciation, I wanted to just give you guys, do a quick little giveaway. One lucky person will receive the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream Palette. Now, I actually have one, so I will go ahead and open up mine because this one is still sealed in the box. Now, I'll open up mine so that you guys can see how beautiful this palette is. Here's what the palette looks like. Absolutely beautiful, you guys. You guys know I love my color, as you can tell. I am wearing a very beautiful, colorful look. I just wanted to do a small little giveaway at the end of my About Me video so that one person who actually is going to watch this video has a chance of winning it. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is to make sure you're subscribed to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and tell me in the comments one obstacle in your life that you have overcome and how you overcame that obstacle. And that's it. That's all you have to do to enter the giveaway. The giveaway runs until now, and it will run for 2 weeks. So I will have all that information in the description box of this video because I won't know that exact date until this video actually gets posted for you guys. The dates will be in the description box. Make sure you go check it out to get all the full details on how to enter this giveaway. And that's basically everything for this video, you guys. I just cannot thank you enough for getting here. Like, we finally made it, you guys. We made it to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. Never did I think I would make it. And I was okay with not making it. I was totally okay with just being a very small channel who just kind of come on here and posted and talked about makeup every once in a while and shared some project pans with you guys. Which, speaking of project pans, I will also be having an update on my 2021 Pan That palette coming soon, as well as an all new Pan Those eyeshadows since I have downgraded my eyeshadow palette collection significantly. I have so much content in store to share with you guys. That's everything for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for subscribing. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe definitely, and comment down below to answer the question that is a part of the giveaway. And until my next video, everybody enjoy the rest of their day. Bye!